And if you'll allow me to say so, what I just quoted to you from Sir Martin, unless I much mistake my audience, is genuinely awe-inspiring. You think of watching... Good. Now, I mean, really awe-inspiring, not like seeing a burning bush would be awe-inspiring, for example. Really awe-inspiring. You think of creatures gradually watching the sun die, and they're not us. And they're as far from us as bacteria, our ancestors, are from us. If that isn't mind-expanding, if that isn't awe-inspiring, then you don't have the capacity for awe, and you won't be able to get it from a holy book either. In other words, it's not a matter of whether you laugh or cry, it's a matter of how you think and what you think. And the realization that comes with it is congruent with many things, I believe, but not with the idea that truth can come from desert revelations made to schizophrenics and epileptics.
But both a man of faith and a man not of faith have completely slurped up the new civic myth and religion, which we identified as GWAT, the Global War on Terror. So let's look at the myth. You right?
Is there a question?
Yes.
Please?
So this,
okay. Good question. Quickly.
Being that anyone with moral and intellectual fortitude who looks at the evidence of that day sees that no Al-Qaeda jihadi had the means to schedule the war games that actually stood down
Hold it right there.
No. Yeah, that's not right.
Being that any
Wasting your time.
Being that any member of Al-Qaeda had no motive to anthrax the leading opponents of the Patriot Act.
Wasting your time. I'm not going to answer you.
Why won't you answer?
You can speak.
So here's the question.
You can
Being
speak.
that you are an intellectual, and now that
you can speak. I'm not bothering with you. Why? I have no time to waste on people like you. Stop it. I can't make you stop. I can't make you stop. But when you stop, it's all over. Okay?
Are you going to answer me?
No, sir, I'm not.
So you believe it? Do you believe?
No, sir, I am not. No. Nor am I going to buy. I'm not going to buy a pencil from your cup either. No, I'm not. That's correct. I'm not.
Way in the back there, the gentleman way in the back. Thank you.
Good evening.
That was a big wow from a small mind. Forget it. I have no time to waste on people like you.
Very.
What kind of person am I?
Don't.
He's insulting me. He's insulting me. I can't respond to him.
No, leave him alone. Leave him alone as long as he stays quiet. He had his turn. You heard his question. I'm not wasting my time on him. Next.
Some religions simply are rackets. Scientology, for example, or Mormonism. It's nothing more than the record of a successful con job. But the spiritual life can't be entirely reduced to that, and here's the problem. When you ask, do people really believe that? There can't be an answer to it, because they don't know any more than you do whether there was a virgin birth or a resurrection. If they say, I believe it, they're still believing in something that they have to know very probably didn't take place. So what are they asking us to believe? They're asking us to believe their propensity to faith, in other words, to take something on faith without argument or evidence. Well, if somebody wants me to believe that of them, that they will do that, then I will, but I feel that they're arguing against themselves and probably doing themselves an injustice. Religion and science can coexist in the same person, that's true. Now, I know Francis Collins. He's brilliant on the genome, but if you've read C.S. Lewis, you don't need to read him on religion. It's unbelievably naive. So Isaac Newton was an alchemist, a very strong, if rather superstitious Christian. He thought the Pope was the Antichrist, might have been onto something there. But a very weird, full of very weird beliefs. I thought if you knew the measurements of the old temple, you'd know more than if you understood gravity. Alfred Russel Wallace, who did most of Darwin's work for him, was a spiritualist, would go to table rapping sessions, listening to burblings from the beyond. Joseph Priestley was a Unitarian and believed in the phlogiston theory.
Couldn't that be a late?
It's really only until, I would say it's only until Albert Einstein, not until, I mean, Albert Einstein, that you get a scientist who's also essentially a philosopher of pure mind. That's the great breakthrough. And now you can have private beliefs and be a scientific person, but no one says my science helps to vindicate my religion. No one says that anymore. That's not doable.
It's a strange thing, isn't it, when you are on a bus now and someone starts talking about how they've got a message from God, I don't know, maybe I'm different. Do you move nearer them? I thought so. It was a Catholic, not just a Catholic physicist, but actually a man in holy orders, Georges Lemaitre of the University of Louvain, who in the 20s anticipated the idea of the Big Bang, quarreled with Einstein about it, said that he didn't call it the Big Bang, that comes later, he thought of it as the egg from which the universe suddenly burst. He took it to the Pope. Pope Pius XI it was, and the Pope was so impressed, being warned that this theory was likely, that he offered to Father Lemaitre, Professor Lemaitre, he said, if you like, I'll make it dogma. I'll say that people have to believe it. He said, well, actually, very nice of you, Your Holiness, but that would be sort of missing the point of a scientific experiment. That's what I mean by saying this mentality is not congruent, not compatible. It's not really reconcilable. Who's, by the way, another Christian scientist, or rather, a scientist who is a Christian. I won't make that mistake again. You know what Mark Twain said about the work of Mary Baker Eddy, the Christian Science writer, founder of it, her books? Chloroform in print, he said. This is a digression. It's a digression. I can't write a book for everybody I meet, which I discovered on this tour I would essentially have had to do. They say, listen, I don't believe in the virgin birth, I don't believe in the rapture, I don't believe in predestination and hell. And so people who've said up till then that they're Catholics, Calvinists, Muslims, they say, well, that's what your texts say, that's all I can write about. If you're all going to take it a la carte and decide which bit you believe, I still want to know on which authority you don't believe it. Now, you're interviewing me, as it were.
Yes.
But so I shouldn't return the question.
Oh, please go right ahead.
If you do not believe that Jesus was born of a virgin, had God for his father, went through unbelievable suffering to be the vicarious recipient of your sin, your guilt, take it away from you, didn't in fact die, but rose again, and will come again to judge the quick and the dead. If you don't believe any of that,
The Nicene Creed.
you're not really a Catholic, it
True.
seems to me.
This is absolutely true.
And since I find great difficulty in believing that someone like you does really believe this, I don't know what book I should have written to unpersuade you of something that you can't quite apparently get your mind to assimilate.
Well, I guess what I'm getting
But
at,
I would
though,
say that your doubt is a point for me rather than a point against.
No, I would say,
However, if people say that we are literally made, in other words, with a purpose, fashioned by God, I think they commit two errors right away, which I'm sorry I think do lead to all the garbage and baggage that you identify, and to some worse stuff too. Here's why. It's at once, it's too masochistic and it's too solipsistic. In other words, it makes you, as the Quran says, fashioned from a clot of blood, or the Bible says from dust. That's what you are. But incidentally, with original sin stirred in. So there you are, effectively a worm, the prisoner of an omnipotent dictator. But as if to compensate for that sort of abject, groveling analysis of your condition, you're told that the whole universe is all about you, and that the God has a plan with you in mind, and that you're in some sense the center of things as well. Now, both of these things are extraordinarily unwholesome for the human personality, and they also are remarkably out of conformity with anything we can recognize as cosmic or global reality. Okay? That's why the religion really began to decline when it was revealed that the sun does not go around the earth, and by analogy and in general that we are not the center or the object of things. The Big Bang did not occur so we could be here. The process of evolution did not occur so I could be sitting here now. We get over that idea, these crazy self-centered ideas masquerading as humility and modesty, we'd be intellectually and morally much better off right away.
The word, the concept of solipsism comes up a lot in your writing. What does it mean, and why do you use it?
It means the belief that no one is important except you. So I have to use it a lot because it's a very commonly encountered belief, and very often, of course, the people who have it don't realize they've got it. So it's your agreeable job to point it out to them. That's what they're suffering from. But I would feel ashamed of myself if I did pray, because that is what solipsism. I'm afraid that's what the lady was suffering from there too, for all her obvious sweet and genuine character. She thinks the world is all about her and that Jesus is listening in case she has anything to say. It sounds so modest, doesn't it? So humble. It's an incredibly arrogant claim, as well as an absolutely ludicrous one. If people got well by praying, ma'am, I suppose I have to say this to you, we wouldn't be in the case that we are, with so many people desperately sick.
Why do you think?
Beyond the reach even of the skilled medicine, which is the only hope of a cure. It is not that is not how people get better.
Thus, when the local prince of the church, who I was sorry to miss on Tony's show, Cardinal Archbishop George Pell, takes leave to tell me, and is going to tell you under this roof, that in his own words, without God we are nothing. My reply is, Your Eminence, please don't talk to me in that tone of voice. I'm not a slave, and I'm on the side of anyone who is in their emancipation. And it's the mind-forged manacles that are often the hardest to break. I'm sorry to tell the Cardinal Archbishop, and I wish I could say it to his face, I have to some of his colleagues, as you might say, that he's wrong twice. He's first wrong in his concept of a deity, in other words, as someone without whom we would be nothing. And he's wrong, second, to declare that we are worthless without agreeing with his concept of that concept. And I demand to know how he knows. His Eminence is claiming to know more than a primate can possibly know, and he's showing that he knows much less than most primates probably should. Because I write for a very small atheist magazine called Free Inquiry, and published out of Amherst, Massachusetts, which did publish the cartoons. So it's a responsibility. First, solidarity with the Danes. Second, people should see what the fuss is about. Borders Books takes our magazine off the rack. So you can't sell your magazine now. I've refused to read or speak in a Borders bookstore ever since. The least I could do. Unless they really, really, really offer me a lot of money. And a complete capitulation, a total capitulation. And people say, why do I focus on the extremists? Because the extremists have the initiative, and His Holiness the Pope condemned what? The cartoons. The State Department condemned the cartoons, not the violence, not the campaign of intimidation. The Archbishop of Canterbury condemned the cartoons. Every church I know of condemned the blasphemy of the cartoons, not the campaign of murder and sabotage and intimidation. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the barbarians are not at the gate. They're not at the gate. They're well inside. And who held open the door for them? The other religious did. Now get used to this, because you may be living in the last few years where you can complain about it. Because the religious really mean this, you know. They are not just joking. They really mean to abolish everything you care about, and they want to take away everything you love, and to destroy everything you have, and to replace it with a Stone Age ideology derived from the desert of Palestine in a very bad time in human history. Now, and just because they were there first, they think they own everything, and they think they have the right to tell you what you can think, who you can sleep with, what you can eat, what you can read, and they claim the right to make you afraid, even to read, in the United States of America this year. So I don't want to hear from anybody that my book says, well, don't judge religion by its extremes, okay? Don't do that.
It says, and do you think that unto such as you, a maggot-minded, starved, fanatic crew, God gave a secret and denied it me? Well, what matters it? Believe that too. To this magnificent astronomer and scientist and physician and humanist of Persia, who opposed the cruel, sadistic, verminous, ignorant mullahs of his day, I borrow the question, what is your authority for saying that you know something that I don't? And since God doesn't ever directly appear and say, do it this way, it's done for him, this is really convenient, by human representatives who claim to act in his name. So that's why I think your standard of proof should be a great deal higher, because if the reason this point is important to you is because it would mean real power in the only world that actually exists, which is the material world, of you